about ready?
No.
We'll stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Consider for approval, next agenda.
I'll make a motion for the minutes of the agenda.
Second. Motion from Jeff, Holden, second from Stenberg, to approve minutes of agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consider the approval of the secondary road workers association contract.
I have a comment if the floor is open. So we were talking a little bit about the probationary wage and whether it needed to be included in this contract. And one reason that I would prefer it not be included is we'll have some juggling of wages kind of as we hire new guys for the next couple of years. We have some guys, on the current schedule of 80, 90, 100, and this says hired after July 1st, they'll start at 90 for 6 months and then go to 100. So we might end up in a very strange situation where we, according to this, would have a new guy making more than a guy that's been with us for a year or the same. So I'd like to kind of have the flexibility administratively to keep that in check and make sure that guys that have been here longer paid at least the same or more than somebody who's just starting.
How do you do that with the set percentages of increase and the set 90, 100?
Well, right, that's the problem, is if it's
You'd
set
have
in
to
stone,
make
then my hands are tied.
And make it at least retroactive in a sense for the last couple of years.
I'm asking to have the flexibility for the beginning wage for new employees, I guess. And then clarification as to what this says.
Basically asking to have it in the handbook instead of in the contract, so him and Johnson are the ones that would decide like the probation period, they're the ones that do the firing or would decide if they're in that.
Yeah, I still don't see how you do that with set percentages of increase for the existing guys and a set starting wage with 90, 100.
So yeah, I'm asking to remove the starting wage and to administer that at the staff level and make good decisions about what makes sense.
Well, we'd have to go not to exceed them. I'm not comfortable leaving the starting wage up to you.
Okay, but I think we leave the starting wage up to everybody else, every other department head for their employees.
But they don't have a association contract or work on it.
No. But past the probationary period, then they would, become part of this wage schedule. So it would only be in effect for 6 months to a year for starting employees. Past that, for the remainder of their career, they follow the contract wages. I'll give you, for instance, and if we had an employee making 80% right now and we had somebody retire tomorrow and had to hire for that position, or excuse me, somebody we hired maybe July 2nd, then they would be making, according to this, 90% of the wage, and we'd have somebody on staff making 80. That doesn't make sense. It's not fair.
That's not fair.
Well, that would person that's making 80 would fall up to the 90 under this.
This says employees hired after July 1st, not effective July 1st.
Well, then I would consider changing that in the contract. Then that solves your problem. And I would think that was something we'd probably have to run by Mike too. On the law, the legal side of it.
Could we do it a way that, leave it out of this contract and then have it approved by the board when we do the adjustments? That way we don't complicate things in the contract and we're also getting approval from you guys.
We have another version of this.
Threw it away. It's basically the same thing, except this employees, that
The one
sentence is gone.
paragraph is gone.
Yeah.
or-
Yep,
I have that, I can email too.
I can print it. Add it to it.
So the change would be to eliminate the one paragraph.
Yeah, the one paragraph, that'd be it.
Any discussion of the probationary period would be totally up to the engineer.
And I can, we can discuss that as we get new guys on staff too, just to make sure that you guys are on board with it, but I think to put it in black and white right now in their contract would be tying our hands and unnecessary constraint.
Well, I guess I can see the engineer's point on this, and I think as long as he comes to us with any changes, I'd have no problem striking that paragraph.
Usually something like that's up to a department head anyways, I was thinking, so, I mean, it had nothing to do with us.
Yeah, it's certainly not fair to have someone start right away because someone has been here for a while. Those things do happen.
Yeah, it's a kind of a clumsy stage for this.
What a paper right now.
Yeah, I mean, it just can't be the case.
Yeah, if you want.
So you're also gonna have to rescind part of your motion from April, whenever it was. April 2nd, maybe?
Rescind the motion to put that in there,
Okay.
and then a motion to leave it up to the discretion of the engineer's office after consulting the supervisors or whatever as far as what's going on. So what you guys are thinking? Terry?
So what? That's under wages. That's gonna change.
Just that one line goes away, or the one paragraph goes away. But
Yeah, under wages.
Yeah, the last paragraph. But would we have to insert language on what was just said? is that just?
I would say you'd be able to put that in the handbook as,
I think we can
That
just
way.
consult on that when it comes up.
It's more than the engineer and the supervisors.
I think.
So you have a case where this is gonna happen?
It's hard to say, you know, like I said, if we have somebody retire immediately after July 1st for some, you know, I don't know, or resign or something, then we'll have a strange case where
Don't we have somebody right now making at 80%? And if somebody comes in when Tweeten retires and they replace him, that new guy will be up above him, won't he?
90%.
Yeah, I mean, for somebody that's been here a year already, or close to it, or maybe
Yeah,
over.
if he's over here, he's all right.
Yeah.
But still isn't even quite fair because then he comes in making the same as he is. So it's-
I mean, our contract, we have nothing to do with probationary stuff. That's
That's the
Department
negative
head.
side of, that's the negative side of belonging to a whole union, this is association, I call it. They all get treated the same. You know? So, if you truly wanted discretion yourself, you would abandon this. And it would just be left up to you.
it's not up to me, it's to protect the employees, but
So who made the motion,
You did.
so then I have to rescind it?
Mhm. It's just part of the motion though.
Okay. I'll make a motion to rescind a part of the original motion to strike out this paragraph here as stated in his, as written.
So
And rescind the wording of the original.
Or the whole motion?
the motion says, start new hires at 90% of base wage for 6 months and move to 100% of base wage after 6 months. So is that what you want to rescind?
I'll rescind that. yes.
Okay.
How you doing? Second motion. Any further discussion? Motion from Jensvold and second from Derby to rescind the portion of the motion that identified the probationary period at 90%, and as stated in the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Further discussion on the contract as adjusted.
Do we have to make a motion to, or just a gentleman's agreement here? As far as, how it goes forward from here,
yeah, we'll
the road will be kept. We don't need to make that motion, do we?
What you do need to make a motion is the contract and
That's struck.
No, just that portion.
Just
Right.
but you need to make a motion on the whole contract.
Yeah.
to accept the rest of the
Yeah.
contract, yeah.
You can accept it, but striking that paragraph. That's all we need to do. I'll make that motion to accept the contract, striking the last paragraph under wages.
I'll second it.
Motion from Denver and a second from Jensvold to accept the employee contract for secondary roads, striking the last paragraph under wages. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Carla, could we print a clean copy and sign that today? Let's get that taken care of.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys want to hang around a minute and get some signatures on it?
Okay, we'll move on to discussion of possible action regarding the demolition of the former LEC. Did you come up with an estimate?
I have an update. I don't have an estimate yet. We had Impact 7G in there to update the asbestos inspection report. I was under the impression that the entire building had been inspected, but before in 2013, they only inspected the parts of the building that weren't active. So they didn't inspect the actual jail cells and the floor where the guys were working, the offices, that kind of thing. So they did all of that, and they took samples of the roof membrane, the tiles on the main floor, some different things that they collected, and they'll be updating that report at the cost of $1,500, and that will give us a list of all the asbestos containing materials and the square footages and that kind of thing. We can then forward that on to asbestos removal companies for quotes, and then we'll have a good number. And in the meantime, Mark and I'll try to get in there to get a better idea of actual physical demolition costs, but the asbestos was the priority, so that's what I've been working on.
Regardless of what we did, we have to,
Got to know the number, yeah.
yeah, we got to know, well, at least know the, we have to address the asbestos.
Right.
Is that the only hazard you gotta be concerned with? Any other hazards unknown that they're looking for? Or?
I don't think there's anything that Kevin wouldn't know about. I don't know if there's like fluids to drain from different boilers and other, heating and cooling type stuff, or there's, coax cables to disconnect from the tower, different things like that need to be done before we can just, slam a wrecking ball into it. But
some of the air conditioning will have to have the coolant drawn out of it, suction out of it. And then make sure Buffington's got all his stuff disconnected from the building, which I believe he does. But as far as anything else, there really isn't a lot to do.
No built any electronics that have that, you can't take to the dump.
Most of that stuff is gone.
So we'll line all that out in an estimate, and even the things that, just we have to do, I'll probably make a list of as well, just so we have everything on the table when we get started.
All right. Thank you. Scott Minor, we'll discuss secondary road matters.
Goes without saying, it's frost boil season and frost boil year by the look of it. You guys are blading and hauling rock as best they can and doing what we can to keep up with it. Blading and hauling rock every hour of the day when our crew is here, so. Hope everybody knows that we're doing everything we can.
South of the, back all the ditches, I'm about to.
150th.
Past the Westbury Church. That's got really bad traffic. It's one lane, basically, it's wet. They were supposed to have an option last week because of the power outages. Now it's supposed to be this week, so it's going to be a busy road this week. So
Yeah.
get that crown back in.
Yeah, just on the, going north from Westbury.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can I back up to the LEC building? What are you gonna do with it, or,
We're tabled it until we get some.
but no
report
more
from Bob.
extensions?
Well,
I mean, like,
we
nobody
can't
else-
act anything on it until we have some costs.
Yeah, at this point,
Yeah.
Are you still trying to sell it, or is that
Well,
done?
it's still being, trying to sell. We have to make a decision one way or the other at some point.
You
Until
guys,
we have both sides
you
information.
guys probably aren't gonna want to demolish it until next winter anyway, are you?
that seems to be most likely. If we can get everything in order, asbestos removed and everything, maybe next winter.
Yeah.
At that point, you know, we'll have to find a budget for it.
So it can't be marketed until we make a decision. You guys have any questions on those?
Well, I had, one phone call and then she never did text me the actual, 380th over by Matson's is, so one of 380th by, out there, kind of bad by your brother's place out there?
I don't know, Bill, I haven't been out there.
And
I've been going up towards Rake.
That's right, it's on the bus route anyway. There's two roads and she was supposed to see the roads in between them.
All right, if you get them, shoot them to me.
Yeah.
Anything else on the roads?
Just continue to work on the wind turbine upgrade project by NextEra and Blattner out for west of town. And I think we'll soon see work from White Construction and EDF and Alliant Energy north of Buffalo Center on that project. But so far, they're still in Cassuth County working.
No other, to consider for approval, public purpose resolution.
Resolutions, one for Doug Rooster and one for Danny Tweeten. Two copies of each. Of course, Doug will be retiring after 36 years of service this May, and Danny after 13. So, really impressive career for Doug, being 36 years.
When are they done?
What's that?
When are they done?
May 30th. Both great employees. Be tough to fill their spots. But this resolution allows us to buy a
Take care, guys.
memento for them on their way out and to show them our appreciation.
I'll second it.
A motion from Stenzer and a second from Jensvold to approve the resolution approving the retirement expenses. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
One copy for you of each, Carla, and one for me.
Drainage matters.
I don't have anything other than what's already on the agenda.
I have a landowner that would like to put in his own tile another direction that would be shorter to a drainage facility. Do you know, can he just do that on his own if he has permission from the adjacent landowner?
Private tile. Certainly wouldn't be up to any of us. whether it's the right thing to do. I wouldn't dare say without knowing more about it, but
Things like that, I suppose would only show up when you reclassify something and you see, whoa, yeah, this is
Yeah, I was just gonna
that
say,
direction, and
we go from one drainage district to another with the flow.
I don't know how that gets addressed.
Well, that'd be, if we did a reclassification, that landowner would have to just show the tile that it does go the other direction, just like Susan Smith did that one up by Lake
But
Mills.
then the other district should be absorbing him as somebody to pay him too,
Right, so you almost have to reclassify 2 districts
right?
by doing that.
But,
Because you have to take him out of one to put him in another.
but is that something you do right now? You don't necessarily do it now, you do it when it's time.
You'll never know about it.
Yeah,
no,
it could be
yeah.
happening all over the county and we don't know.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to cover all the bases on
Yeah.
the board.
Yep.
All right, I'll let them know.
Other than it goes to the wrong place, they still pay in a sense. It
Yeah,
just-
they're still paying on the other
this is
that
someone
they're
else.
not using.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That's all I had on drainage.
Did you guys get out and take a look at that, law up at the golf course?
I just drove by at full speed and it appears to be there still, so I'm not
Yeah,
sure,
It looks like it, though there's still a little water stand there,
right?
and I stopped there. It looks like it's just hollowed out around the, it's just eaten out around the intake. or-
Maybe a little bit of dirt there just to shore it up, might fix her.
Looks like it probably needs, there's probably just been a lot of water run through there the
I'm
last
sure.
year and a half.
Yeah, well, it's in the system. Whatever needs to be done with it, we'll get her fixed up.
I don't have any
All right, you didn't do anything, Mike? Okay. Consider for approval agreement with WHKS regarding DD5 Lot 5.
You. And I looked it over, I'm just assuming that it's right because I was gone last week, so I didn't hear the discussion. So,
The only thing it should cover is just make sure that it's done right.
yeah, so I just hope that it's what you agreed on.
Yeah, no, he's just gonna be out there.
Okay. So I feel like I should send a letter to the landowners because at first they thought they weren't going to have a bill. And now there's a $45,000 bill plus engineering fees. So can I have them contact you guys? I mean, you
Sure can.
specifically because it's your district.
It's gonna be done.
Well, they don't know that.
Well,
They thought everything was gonna be paid by Elliott
Well,
directly.
right. No,
So,
not the tile, repair of the tile.
The tile
But the
that
tile, we
was working is why he dug the ditch
Right.
improved their drainage.
so they weren't aware of this whole big project.
Yeah. It would have been had he not dug the ditch.
Yes,
Yes,
Yeah,
but they weren't aware of it before that.
yeah, no.
They never got told that there was gonna be anything, it's close to our threshold. At the time, would we have sent it out for bids? Would we have had hearings? I'm nervous about them now all of a sudden having this bill.
I think
I
we
guess.
can justify maybe $20,000 under the engineer's estimate.
I agree, but it's been 4 years in the making. So-
Between the tile functioning again and that ditch there, they have greatly improved their drainage, much more than what just the original parallel tile would have been.
When it's all done.
It's all
Yeah,
done, yes.
so,
Well, they've greatly
Yeah,
improved
it
it now
probably
with just the
does.
ditch.
okay,
Everybody's
all right.
And
It's
And
how you
then
explain it.
instead of having them call us with any questions, I'll just have them call you, you can explain.
That's fine.
Okay,
Yep, no, I have no problem with it.
okay, thank you.
Make a motion to-
I didn't read it. Is it simply
It's pretty,
just an observatory? motion to approve that appeal.
I'll second.
Motion from Center and the second from Gentle to approve the contract with WHKS on the DD5, Flat 5 repair. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Open forum.
Just so you guys know, we did a poll yesterday at the radio station on what to do with the LEC. And the vast majority of people, we only had 2 people suggest save it. The rest of it said knock the thing down, it's an eyesore. One comment was, put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig.
I don't know, I think I look pretty good lipstick on.
I was gonna say,
I think it vastly
I
improved.
wasn't gonna bring that out, Bill, but just so you know.
You haven't seen the pictures of the Queen of the Court?
Yeah, I have.
That was brilliant. We still have that on computer too, by the way. I think we're holding that for
Just
any.
glad you're on radio, not TV.
Yeah, yeah. The pictures don't come out real well on radio, but we still have the picture.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though I could see you contorting on the radio when Brett was down at the state tournament when you were doing it. I could see it. I didn't even need you. I could feel it through your voice.
Yeah, there were various family members going, take it easy, take it easy.
Anything else for open forum? Keep that going too if you want.
I am, as a matter of fact. It was interesting. We had over 20 responses, and only 2 of them said keep the building. A lot of people are saying Waldorf parking lot. A lot of people are saying, you know, it's an eyesore.
The question is, will they use it?
One person had a rather unique idea, and that was that it would be used as a place for family activities like painting and things like that, where they could display paintings and ceramics and stuff like that. And another person said try to turn it into apartments, and that was it. Wait. Turn it into tear it down and turn it into a restaurant area, because there aren't enough restaurants in Forest City.
And it's gonna get a stay of execution just because of the time factor for the secondary roads to take it down, so it's.
I noted it. I said that has been tabled to the 15th power.
Monthly county claims, everybody get a chance to look at them?
Then I have some questions. Under chemical dependency, we have a bunch of claims, some utilities, some rent, for Lechtenberg office, Carrillo.
Don't say names, please.
Yes, did you?
Is that,
Don't say names, please.
why is that?
HIPAA. It's through
Well, this is a public
WHW.
record right here.
It's WHW. Is the bills that she does rent and utilities for.
Okay, rent, utilities, rent,
Uh-huh.
300, 300, what's that for?
Rent and utilities.
The ones listed there aren't.
Through social services, through Sandy Morales. She's been doing this for,
Right, but is that,
100 years.
is that, direct, or is that through? a pass-through. Is that,
It's direct, that's part of her,
And the names
WHW.
listed there probably, might be the landowners that are getting paid rent.
I think that's what it is.
And, I don't think it has the person's name that's there. Cause I know one of them, looking at the one right now, I know that's a landowner.
yeah.
so I
Yeah,
don't know what
that's
you're,
And if
asking.
she doesn't pay these people's rent, they end up being homeless.
That's what it is, okay.
yeah. Yeah, it's nothing new,
Yeah, and she's been doing it for,
40 years. Yeah,
49 years.
yeah, right. However long it's been.
well, if you give her.
I'm sorry that I didn't know your question.
That's fine.
She's been doing it for so long, I don't know why you haven't seen it before,
Yeah,
attention to it.
Ham just didn't notice it.
Okay,
Probably.
I didn't ask the question.
They're
of
good
you.
to register.
right,
I asked the question of Sandy years ago.
there you go.
But just so you know, if it was HIPAA, it better not be in here.
Well, true.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's the landowners who are getting paid the rent.
I guess that's always, her stuff was HIPAA, but it is in there, so.
No, I think he's right, it's the landowner, so there's no tie in the public
Okay.
record.
Okay.
It shouldn't get past Sandy's office.
Because usually somebody isn't renting their own property from themselves.
Yeah.
Make a motion to do.
I'll second it.
Motion Stender and a second from Jens Water, semi-monthly county claims. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Farmers could save if we didn't have tires.
Is that a
Huh?
state statute that you have to do at a certain rate, at a certain,
I don't know,
You
I don't think the rate's dictated, but
you have to have a certified engineer
at a certain cost?
approve things that most guys that do the work know how to do on their own anyway.
At a certain cost, I mean, certain cost level, $50,000, $100,000 or something like that, right?
You gotta hire an engineer if it gets about 50,000 or is it 100?
100.
Is it 100? It used to be 50, didn't it?
We
Our
got,
policy is
so,
50.
yeah.
Yeah, all right, that's what.
So point of
About
clar,
15,000 here now so far.
so point of clarification at 45, why is the engineer coming into play?
Just to observe.
In a way.
Because when we first started this, we hired an engineer and then Elliot went ahead and dug the ditch without us knowing about it.
So,
And so the engineer was involved before.
Okay. Makes perfect sense now.
and it's a little bit of conflict of interest there because his family owns the land and just want to make sure everything's on the up and up. Not that we don't trust him, it's just, it looks better if we have an engineer inspecting it.
And he's already familiar with the whole project in a sense, so he would be the one that would be minimalize the expense as far as he's already, wouldn't have to do all preliminary work.
So we're digging a ditch or making an improvement or cleaning?
We're replacing the tile.
It ended up being an improvement what Elliot did. He didn't do anything wrong. But the tile ended up dumping into that ditch as he went through it. That's where the rub went.
Well, I
It's on his own land, so he can do whatever he wants with his own land.
and I think it was unknowingly, he didn't even know he hit the tile, did he?
I don't know.
I thought it seems like I remember that once anyway, but
So the original intent was to replace the tile, but he dug a ditch instead. So now we're replacing the tile at the history cost,
Got it.
partially.
and the ditch is still there.
In the ditch.
At one point, we were talking about making the ditch part of the drainage district, and, that we can't can't do that because it's an improvement. He can make a private improvement, but we can't make a public improvement, or is that what it was?
A district tile.
Yeah, we couldn't have that be a district ditch without going through all the hoops.
So if you want to see what can be done with old buildings with some government money, they have it's called a Community Catalyst Grant. It's $100,000. Last week they gave away 29 of those grants. 40% of them 40% of the money has to go to communities under 1,500. So Fort City would be in that upper category of 60%. It's a competitive process, and Economic Development under the rural, they have a Department of Rural Development is doing that. And there were some really interesting projects in there that show it. It's probably going to be on the website.
Community Catalyst Grant.
Yes.
Okay.
There was one application in Winnebago County that didn't get it because they were doing mostly inside work. They want to, I think their intent is to take old buildings and fix the outside and make them inoperable. They want to have business on the bottom and housing on the top. That's the priorities.
Is this something we're going after?
We're always looking at it.
We're always looking at it, okay.
But, you know.
You gotta get a business, wanna go on the bottom, and
yeah,
someone is willing to make apartments above them.
You don't have to actually have that business lined up, but it certainly helps when you're applying for the money. Scores better.
So this is one of the options you have on the table presently for the LAC.
If it ever comes around to that point, it's something that would possibly be available, but you know, with any government free money, it takes a long time to get there. This other couple that didn't, like Mel's, they actually applied for it, but it kind of delayed their project because they didn't know if they were going to get the money or not. They couldn't do anything until then, and then they found out they couldn't, so they just went ahead. summit they had down there, one of the fascinating ones was the young couple that took over a 75-year-old grocery store in Lenox, Iowa. And,
Really?
And it's called Ramsey Market.
Mm-hmm.
And they had all these grand ideas, but the local people said, well, he's into it. Don't make these huge changes that shock people. Probably walk away. But they've done a good job. Their meat counter actually has a light show above it. Sounds like there's some kind of entertainment in the vegetable area, and it's become a destination place for tourism, and they've done well enough in the last 3 years to where they have bought the True Value hardware store next to it. Now they can provide a venue for weddings, and they're still a hardware store. So
That one wedding in the hammers and the other wedding in the saws. I love it.
At least we don't have a slightly used cathedral takedown.
Yeah.
they're not taking it down.
No, I haven't tried to rebuild it. I guess it got rebuilt, what was it,
900 years ago.
was it 900? Well, that's when they built it, but it was.
They started.
During the French Revolution or something like that, it was also, ended up having to be rebuilt somewhat after that, with the war there.
They said they've already got $330 million of donations from 2 private billionaires.
Oh, was that right?
Wow.
And there's a GoFundMe page that's $4,000.
That's right. There you go. Don't forget that.
Well, how would you like to be the corporate contractor that goofed or whatever, if that started that fire and burned down 900 years?
Well, the first thing that came to mind was, did the penitential candles thing tip over?
Oh, yeah. Somebody let the candles get out.
Somebody let the candles get out of control. Did that tip over? Did somebody knock that over?
You look at the inside.
It wasn't that, they said it started in the rafters,
Okay.
which where they were.
Where they were working, yeah.
And that's about the only part
You know,
of wood, isn't it?
when you're working in a structure that has wood that's that old and dry in it, and you're doing stuff that could cause sparks or heat or just drilling into the wrong spot, hitting an electric wire and shorting it in, you would think that you would have had some kind of emergency fire equipment right in that location, just for the risk.
You ever been to Notre Dame?
No, I have not. I
It's
watched the
about-
back of Notre Dame.
It's about three to four times taller than this building,
Well, no, I'm
and the
just
bell
saying,
tower is
but
alone.
they could have had a fire hose up in there with them, strung it already, just in case. Because when you're dealing with something that's so irreplaceable, you wouldn't want to leave anything to chance.
But the thing is,
Like-
it can sit there and smolder for hours until it finally takes off. It could have been gone already.
That is true. But, I have a garden hose hooked to a line in my basement that is always live, that when my wood burner's going, if I have to, I can minimize the damage as quickly as possible before the fire department gets here. So I don't have to find the hose and hook it up and all that. It's always there, ready to go.
Well, the fear is that you would have, when this was on Sky News last night, I almost doubled over with laughter in the living room.
Water damage.
Yeah, you're afraid of the water damage to the rest of the building. Okay, so you've got a
That
fire
is-
and you want to put the fire out, but you're afraid of water damage. Okay, got it. I'm all over that one. Yeah.
So they actually got their artwork out of it.
Yeah, they got everything out of there except for the 2 relics, the thorn of the crown of Jesus. That looks like they lost that, and then they also
Well, I
have
heard
one from
somebody
St.
grabbed
Augustine.
that.
They grabbed
I
it?
read on the news,
I-
it says the Notre Dame Imperial threatened to destroy precious relics and treasures. Thanks to one heroic priest, several of these religious items were saved.
Yeah,
So
I
it
thought
doesn't
they
sound
got,
like all of them were saved, but
okay,
it sounds like most of them.
yeah. Yeah, you just hate to see something.
Yeah, that was up in the spire, so that priest must have been hauling donkey to get up there to get those things, then come back down again, because that spiral staircase leading up to it, that's no picnic. That's
No,
like going up the Empire State Building. You are just up.
One of the things that I always wanted to see, I guess, it's, not an option anymore until they get it rebuilt. They're talking years for that.
Wait 400 years and you'll be able to go back through it again.
Yeah,
It's no big deal.
When I finally find time to go see it, it'll probably be done.
My daughter came to sell last year. She was very saddened by the.
It hurts. Because as soon as that news broke in the room, I was like, we flipped on all the TVs and we were looking and checking it out. I was like, what the hell? No, that place, not the Notre Dame.
It does give you more of an eerie feeling. I've been at the top of the World Trade Center before.
Mhm.
And then when I went down, I'm like, you know, it just gives it a little extra kick to it, I guess, as far as.
I've been to the top of the Irish hospital. That's gonna hurt.
Over here. Really? You got all the way to the top?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, we were inspecting it while we were planning. We wanted to look and see what the roof looked like, and we were trying to see a date on the membrane.
Mm.
All I know is they don't have the fire trucks or anything to put that kind of situation out over there. That's why it took so long, because the trucks they had were nowhere near what they needed to put that building out. No one thought that thing would go up in flames.
Yeah.
Especially that fast. I mean, that was,
Yeah, you got wood that's that old and dry.
oh my.
It's amazing that it's, you know, and I would guess some of that wood's probably hasn't been replaced over the years. It's probably why they were up there. Some of that, you know.
Well, the spire got rebuilt quite a long time. It wasn't that long ago, 90 years or something like that. And then watching that thing just glow and then right over it was just unreal. Totally unreal.
Yeah, it wasn't overly personal to me in a sense, but just sitting there when I first saw that, and I'm just sitting there watching it, and I'm like, wow, there goes a lot of years.
Sky News was on it for 6 hours. They were showing everything going on. And I thought, those bell towers, if it gets up in those bell towers, and evidently it didn't, but gets up in those bell towers, and you've got a real problem on your hands. You got 1 and 2 ton bells that are sitting up there. Those things come crashing down at night.
Did they get the fire out yet, or?
Yeah, it's out now.
Oh,
It's out
okay.
late last night. I think.
Late last night, almost 1 o'clock in the morning our time. Thing is like 3 city blocks. It's huge.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that big.
It's big.
Yeah, I've heard of it before. I just didn't. I guess you don't think that, you just think that the part with the tower and all that is probably mostly it. I didn't realize all that around it was connected to it. It's,
One of those belfries is bigger than this entire building in width. I mean, it's almost the size, well, it would be the same size as the county property outside.
one of my favorite quotes comes from there. I'm not an animal.
Only you, Bill.
Try to convince people I'm not.
So far, we have you on record as being a pig, and now you're not an animal.
Yeah, well, until I got my lipstick on.
Oh, okay, there we go. That's the problem right there.
We were driving down to that Rural Economic Summit. We're getting close and going to the east. It's kind of southeast of Marshalltown. And following this 20-year-old Ford Ranger. Yeah, the big tall tires, the thin ones like this. Four-wheel drive. All of a sudden, he just starts directing to the left. And that ditch was getting deeper and deeper. Holy crap. I just slowed down and just watched him. And in the ditch he goes, and he just missed a big crossing culvert. Drives right out, and he just drives on. I'm like, somebody in front of me on our way. AJ and Melissa were with me, and it's like, anyway, after about 3 miles, he pulled over in somebody's driveway and probably changed his underwear or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I've watched that happen many times. I watched a guy, he just started drifting over from the right lane, kept going in his semi, and went into the median, went over one of them turnarounds in there and back up on the road and And, looked like it was a pretty fun ride, lots of dust and stuff, but Dave's lucky it wasn't muddy, and he gets, off on the next ramp, and the truck that I was passing at the time, he goes, "Oh, LB Transport, what'd you think of that?" I says, "It looked like a fun ride." He goes, "My guess is he's riding a couple inches higher than Trouser Chili right now."
Oh my God.
Is this not?
Yes, it is.
We gotta have people out there laughing. I never thought of it quite like that.
Good God, look at the YouTube hits.
There's some
So-
things you can't unhear, though.
But it was funny, you can't believe how I was, I went in the ditch, did the same thing, I was laughing so hard. You just love to look at some of these guys, that you hear these comments come out of, it's just like, I got to see what you look like.
Yeah, Bob again. Well, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll claims.
Second.
A motion from Jeff Gold, the second from Stenzer to approve payroll claims. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We stand adjourned.